mean, it's way too early for that. This happens, and you go through cycles where it seems like you get every hit with the runners in scoring position, and then you go through cycles where you struggle. And you just got to ride it out, and you got to turn around tomorrow.
When your offense isn't producing, how much extra pressure is that putting on your pitching staff as a whole?
Well, I think they go out there to not give up runs to begin with. I think that's the idea. So I don't really think they take that into consideration. They understand that we're struggling a little bit, and they've been around the block, and they understand what they have to do. But, I mean, they don't go out there thinking that if I give up 4, I'm going to win today.
You mentioned it is early, but given that they have had some rough times offensively, do you think of mixing things up a little bit as far as the order is concerned, or do you just
Well, I have changed it around a little bit. I mean, I have. We've used some different lineups. So, I mean, it's not like it's been the same lineup for 10 straight days.
Who else? Wally.
Joe, when you get 11 base runners off Felix Hernandez, and 6 of them by walks, isn't that a game you have to win?
It should be a game you win, but we didn't. He gave us opportunities. Our guys were patient and made him work. And, you don't see him throw usually 5 pitches or whatever in 5 innings. We just never got the hit to score the runs. Carlos got the 1 double with a runner on first, but we had our opportunities and didn't take advantage of it.
Right here, John and Anthony.
Joe, what happened on the play where the guy scored from first?
Yeah,
Single.
Jake came up and looked at the runner instead of coming up throwing to the infielder, and that little pause cost us that run.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the same play. Did you think it was a big play in the game? Cruz still comes up and gets hit, but
yeah, I mean, he still gets a hit, but it's probably first and third at that situation instead of second and a run scored, and there's chances are they don't score that other run.
With Ellsbury on first in the 8th inning, do you want him to go ahead and go if he can get a jump there?
Yeah, of course.
So he's free. Is it,
of course.
Were the times really bad as far as Benoit or anything?
He's quick. He's a 1-1-5 to 1-2. So the catcher makes a good throw, you're out. That's the bottom line. He's tough to run on.
Randy, to your right, Joe.
Joe, what is your biggest concern right now, if there's any real concern?
The one thing that you worry if it goes on for a long period of time is getting distance from your starters, because then your bullpen, it's hard to keep them rested and where they need to be. Hitting's going to come and go. That's going to happen. Getting distance out of your starters becomes somewhat important during the course of a season.
Kenny and Dan.
Joe, we keep asking about Alex, and you keep saying you understand because of his age. But do you think this is a pretty long hitless slump now? Do you think this is weighing on him at all?
I bet you could go back in history and he's done this before.
But do you maybe it weighed on him then and now again?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's happened before in his lifetime. So, as a hitter, you go through it, it stinks. It really does. But you got to fight through it.
Dan.
He said the other day that he felt he had his A swing. Are you seeing an A swing or a good technique from him?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's coming off of, those. I mean, he had 3 rockets on Monday or Tuesday, that sort of thing. So, Felix is a tough guy to center up. I don't care who you are. I mean, some of his at-bats have been off of pretty tough guys to square up, which we have not done a lot of. We didn't do much off of Stroman, and we didn't do much off of Felix. We got our walks. But the 2 guys is pretty tough to square up.
Wally.
That may have just been the answer you're going to give me now, but, I mean, while we're on Alex, you gave him the day off yesterday, hoping that I guess he would be a little rejuvenated today. Are you troubled by the fact that he probably looked worse today than he has in a couple of days?
No, I'm not going to make too much of it. Because of Felix? Well, yeah. I mean, if hitters were that good, they would hit 500, 600, 700, 800. But it's what you go through as a hitter. You're going to go through streaks where you don't square up balls, you miss pitches that you should hit, your timing's slightly off. It's just what you go through, and you got to fight through those times.
Susan.
How would you evaluate CC today?
I thought he threw the ball pretty well. The first 3 innings, his pitch count was decent. The last 2 innings, he threw a lot of pitches, and they got to him a little bit. He hung a breaking ball. He made a mistake on Robbie Cano with a fastball, out over the plate. But I thought he threw okay. I mean, he threw good enough to win, that's for sure.
Hart.
As well as Beltran swinging the bat, would you consider moving him up to the 3 spot, or is that sending the wrong messages?
No, I mean, I haven't, again, I have not thought about tomorrow's lineup. I don't, in spring training, I think weeks in advance, but in season, I don't. And, I don't always think about making changes when someone's struggling. I mean, sometimes you do, but it's not the first thing I think about.
Dave.
I'm just going to ask Kevin the same line, Joe. I mean, how, like, when you look at guys and see when they're hot, what's a substantial thing when you would think about moving them? Would it be like a week that you would say, hey, this guy would help us higher up, or could it even be a day-to-day thing?
Yeah. I mean, the one thing you don't want to get too caught up is changing your lineup every day because you want some consistency. But obviously, guys have to produce to stay in the spots to be consistent. So I haven't put much thought into it, since the game has ended and walked in here.
Anthony?
Joe, from what you said before about the starters and distance, how concerned are you that they're not giving you distance so far? I mean, I think 3 guys have been credited with 6 or more innings.
Yeah.
That seems early, but
it's early. That's kind of the way I take it too. So, if it was to go on for a long period of time, I'd be concerned. But it's still early for them too.
Well,
Joe, back to CeCe for 1 second. Why did you decide to take him out at that point? Is he on a shorter leash than the rest of your staff?
No, I mean, he was up around 95, 96 pitches, had thrown 45 pitches probably in the last 2 innings. So